So, I don't have any subject. So, it's up to you, Malý Český rybníček.
Malý český rybníček.
Česko-Slovensko.
Say again.
Malý český rybníček.
Malý Český rybníček. Up to you. We can talk about anything. Who's going to be brave enough to risk being...
Ask the question.
Yes, to risk being thought stupid by everybody.
Exactly.
Yes. Communism went in 1993. You can free yourselves now. You can speak up. I won't tell anybody. Well.
And they will come to arrest me.
Maybe this will come in YouTube, so everyone will know what we are saying. I'm not sure.
Not this one. No.
So Mike,
yeah.
How not to feel special about what we do? Because the constant thing...
Say again. How
not to feel like special about what we do. I mean, from my experience, the constant thing how I screw these things up is I sit and I sit zazen, right?
Yeah.
And I think and then just screaming at myself, stop sit zazen, or thinking about Buddhism. But it's doesn't smell right. It's.
Do you think about Buddhism a lot?
No, but. I think it prevents me from, really getting it in the life. When I started thinking about Buddhism, or
it's a problem.
Thinking it's special, like the Buddhism or sitting or whatever.
I understand.
Or this kind of people or anything. Like how to avoid this?
I understand.
I don't understand. Can you clarify how special? Special. In comparison to what? To whom or...
I mean, life sometimes feels messy and unorganized and unsatisfactory. So I get this fuzzy feeling, okay, I sit here, or I read this Buddhist book, or I met with these nice people, and it's kind of...
special compared to people who...
To just daily life, I don't know.
Well, yes, it's a problem. Because what's happened is certainly with Tibetan Buddhism and Zen, certainly, it came to the West, which is a different culture, and people start doing it as some kind of new, unusual practice. And often with different clothes, like this, This is like a medieval Chinese man. But he's a medieval Slovakian man, actually. So,
reincarnation of great Chinese master. I forgot the name.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
Okay. And people think it's something special. And so they go into a group and they do these ceremonies, and they like the ceremonies, like chanting, like bowing, like putting incense, all these things, which, we chant before meals. So people get the feeling that, it's good, it makes me feel calm. I have a friend, colleague, Gabrielle, some of you met her, and she has a dojo in Dresden. And she made her dojo like a little Japanese place. And people go in there, German people, they like something very ordered and lots of rules and things. So I hate it. Because if you want ritual, I'll tell you what the real rituals are. Getting up in the morning, making your bed, washing your face, cleaning your teeth, having breakfast, going to work. These are rituals. And if we join a group and make all the rituals inside this box, which is special, and then people say, how can I make Buddhism part of my life? Well, the answer is leave the group, throw it away, and just live. What the original Buddha taught was nothing to do with these ceremonies and these groups. He wasn't teaching about ritual. He was teaching how to live. He found through his own experience how to live, and he told other people. And people were interested because he saw things from outside society, because he lived with the yogins, and he noticed how society imprisons us, and so on. Anyway, so I think it's important for me not to make something special. The reason we chant before meals is mainly because when I came back from Japan, when we have a session, it was natural to me. I've been doing it, so I carried on doing it, and everybody else carried on doing it. But if people don't like it or want to stop, fine. It's not important in that sense. And you know, we have little bells, and they're not really important. The most important thing is to practice balance every day, if only for 10 minutes or half an hour, if you can manage it. That's the most important thing. The rest is not important. Even groups are not important. The big group in France, started by a Japanese monk called Deshimaru, and I think Kaisen was somehow connected, and a lot of teachers in Europe have come from there. And I don't know if they say now, but they used to say, oh, it's better not to sit at home, sit at the dojo. You have to come to the group to sit, because when you sit together, it's special. It's not. When you do anything with a group of people, there's a nice atmosphere together. Whether it's going for a walk, singing, going to church, there's an atmosphere. So, of course, when we sit together, there's a nice atmosphere. But the most important thing is to practice every day. So when they say to their students, don't practice at home, you know, you might have a psychotic episode or something. It's complete rubbish. So it's up to you not to make it special. I try not to make it special because I don't feel special. So, and I think that unfortunately, in the 2,000 years since Gautama Buddha's original teachings, there have been many passing on the teachings. And of course, like everything, it's passed on in different ways. Maybe some people didn't understand what he was teaching, but they liked the way he did things. And so down the years, you know, some groups who are practicing the teachings think that ritual has something sacred in it. Yes, it does. Cleaning your teeth has something sacred in it. Going to the toilet has something sacred in it. So what people think is important about ritual is present in our normal life. We just don't notice it. If you go every week to a special Japanese-style room and you do these special rituals and you think, oh, yes, you are missing the point. What is better to do is make your own life like that. To some extent, you don't have to exaggerate. You don't have to clean your teeth like this. But, when you're eating, eat properly. We eat together down here, and we don't talk very much. Well, actually, it's quite healthy not to talk too much when you're eating, because it helps your digestion. So, all these things are there in normal life. So there isn't anything special, but people have made, typically, human beings make things special. And then from that special state, they have special people. And then there's more special people. And then you have a hierarchy, and up here is the guru, and he's special, super special. And then at the bottom are people who say, oh, I'm not special, I'm just an ordinary person, but my guru is special. And that's the end of everything, really. If you get into that kind of situation, well, good luck. That's called delusion. And it happens all the time. There's all these people on the internet, on YouTube, who present themselves as great teachers, and they encourage you to think they're special. They have a special state or a special life. Well, to me, that's not helpful, because we think that person's special. I'm not special. I want to be like them. And I might have to pay money, but it's okay. And the special person becomes more special, like Osho. And, hundreds of examples. So there's nothing special. So don't make it special. And the way not to make it special is to sit every day. Don't just sit twice a year. If you sit every day, it's not anything special. You sit when you're tired, when you're sleepy. You sit and you have to get up to go to the toilet because you forgot to go. You sit and your children are making a noise. You do the best you can. There's no perfection anywhere. So don't let people put the teachings in a box, because that's what they want to do. And they've been very successful. So we meet together as a group, and we've got a name called Dogen Sangha, because Sangha means group, and Dogen is where our teachings came from. But Pavel said some years ago, it doesn't exist. When we come together, Dogen Sangha exists, and we go home and it doesn't exist anymore. I like that a lot. So for me, it's better not to have an organization. That's my personal preference. But part of that is because I want to avoid making something special.
The first talk you mentioned when Buddha went to the forest,
Yes.
to the ascets,
Yeah.
to attain some special state.
Yeah.
And then you described some 9 to 8 level of consciousness.
Well,
so
only what I read.
Where come these theories from? From Hinduism or?
From the yogic tradition, I think.
Okay.
I think I don't.
But
Maybe somebody. Maybe you know. Probably
I
know.
think so, because before Buddha's take enlightenment,
Yeah.
there were not anything in India. Mainstream was Hinduism, yoga.
Maybe you can find some Buddhistic books. I think I'm not sure about these states also, something like that.
Well, yeah.
But this is also
I don't know.
rubbish. It's nothing to do with Buddhism or with Buddha teaching.
Well, he quit. He gave up. That's the important thing. I don't know whether he was thinking, oh, that was good experience. I enjoyed those 8 years, but now I want to do something new. But the story that we have, it seems like he must have thought, this is not what I'm looking for. I give up. But it's only a guess. I didn't have the opportunity to talk to him.
And all these bodhisattvas and many of these things, where come they from? It's Buddhist?
Yes. No, I think people after the Buddha died.
Tyson also make first you are bodhisattva and after you are monk and something like that.
Well, you can see some kind of sense, some kind of value in it. They were trying to describe what happens to people when they joined one of these groups in ancient India, and like there's, for instance, there seem to be people who come to Buddhist teachings because they've been reading and thinking and what's my life, and they're interested in religion and so on, and so in their mind they've had lots of questions and they come to the Buddhist teachings to find the answers. That's one kind of person. Another kind of person, like me, I came because of something physical. In my mountaineering, I noticed a nice state or situation, and it's almost like by accident I met this little guy in Japan, but what he said matched what I experienced. But I wasn't thinking about Buddhism. I wasn't looking for the Buddhist teachings. I didn't read any Buddhist books. So there's a kind of physical way. So there's a kind of intellectual way and a physical way. And then there's people who are mixed between the two. So they wanted to give names to these. We love giving names to things. So, somebody who's kind of mixed and in daily life, we'll call them bodhisattva, and somebody who's coming just from the intellectual, we'll call them shravaka, and so on. And so all these words build up, and then people believe the words. We love to make models, and when we make the model, we believe the model and we forget the reality. In science, in religion, in everything. Our brains are so powerful. So slowly, 2,000 years is a long time. Slowly, all this built up around teachings which were realistic and straightforward. And people did their best. So I went to that peak with that guy from the north of India last week, and he was talking about reality and practicing dhyana. So I can't remember what he said, but I write it down, and then he writes it down and passes it on to somebody else, and slowly it changes. And so we have the huge invention of Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, and the other ones which I've forgotten the names of. Theravada Buddhism, the other one? Yogacara Buddhism.
Madhyamaka.
Yeah. Dogen, who's the guy I know most about, said there's only one. So he was very generous. He said that all these are the same. Actually, he didn't mean that everything that people are doing is the same. He meant because there's only one teaching, they must all be making their effort to teach the same thing, because it came from the same person. But in fact, what the teachings have turned out to be sometimes sounds very different. But there must be something in common. So that's what Dogen said in the 13th century. But of course...
Where is it? In Shobogenzo?
Where is it?
Where is it? In Shobogenzo.
In Shobogenzo, yeah.
Dogen said that every teachings of Buddhism has something...
No, he said there's only one Buddhism. So if you say there's only... So he describes of course, he lived in Japan, so he didn't know about all the Indian or South Asian teachings, but he said there are many sects, Zen sects in Japan, the Obaku sect, the Rinzai, blah, 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 blah. But he said there's only one Buddhism. So from that, you have to understand what was he trying to say. He wasn't saying there's only what I'm saying. He was saying there's only one teaching, but it's come into different places.
It's interesting. Dhammapada says there is only one Buddhism.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Well, as long as it's not only his, I agree. I only talked to him for half an hour, and I felt that he thinks it's only his. Because he said to me about faith. He said faith is very important. Faith. Belief. And I said to him, what about doubt? And then he gave me a lecture about Zen doubt. So I thought, okay, so the truth comes from Dhammadippa.
Zen doubt?
Zen doubt. Doubt in Zen.
What is this?
I don't know. You have to ask Dhammadippa.
Doubt. Well, I think it's quite an interesting question, faith and doubt.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you explain?
Well, you should clarify for yourself, for example. But anyway, faith. You have to faith,
please,
because otherwise you wouldn't sit on your buttocks.
Tell me your experience with the doubt in Zen.
That's what I'm talking now about.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You have to have quite strong faith to go to the meditation room and sit on your buttocks for 5 hours a day in Zazen or in the method or in the teaching. Faith, vira.
I don't have faith.
You have, otherwise you wouldn't be here.
No, it's not faith.
What is it?
Experience.
Okay. So maybe usually we use faith to mean some mental belief.
Yeah.
But Pavel's meaning is something which is not only mental. So in our body, through our experience, we rely on something.
Trust.
Okay,
Trust
trust
is
is better.
trusted.
Trust is better.
Okay, trust. Yeah.
Ale je to synonymum. Faith, trust is a synonym in this.
Dôvera je pre mňa viac úplne niečo iné ako viera. Ale okej.
Jaký význam přidáváš tomu slovu?
Pro právníka to je razantní rozdíl.
Rozhodně. Yeah.
To je dobré.
Je, no.
Je.
Důvěra, no.
And I would say also doubt, maybe misleading word. So, for example, when I think about it, or I usually use, instead of doubt, kind of curiosity, constant curiosity about things.
Okay.
Curiosity. Okay.
Co řekne česky?
Zvědavost.
No.
Zvídavost. Po česky.
So it's.
Zvídavost, to je dobrý.
I think it's very important to when I read a word in the translation or shobogenzo or whatever, to find the meaning of this word or concept or whatever in your own experience, in your own life.
Zvídavost.
So you may read faith and doubt, but what does it mean actually? For me, in my life, in my experience, for me it's trust and curiosity. It resonates much more with me, for example. So.
Dogen is writing about this faith
And
and doubt.
I'm not. I don't. Yes. Yes, but I can't tell you where. I have to. My memory's not good enough.
Yeah, but it's definitely true that Dogen mentions arhats. There's a chapter called
Arhat, yeah.
So he must have known about Theravada practice, and he, as far as I understand the chapter, he shows respect for the people who practice, and he calls them Buddhists, not they are wrong. So I think he showed respect for that practice even in a different style. But he says it's Buddhism. And another thing is, he says Zen is nonsense. Zen is some kind of invention, and it's nonsense. So he didn't respect the category Zen. He says in Bendola, I think, there's no Zen.
Yeah. Go on.
Just Buddhist. So he always tries to explain what Buddha's teaching is, what Buddhist practice is, no matter what, if you're India or Mongolia, or what is Buddhist.
There's one thing I think is quite helpful. It's very helpful to me. It came from my study with Nishijima of the Shobogenzo, but I can't tell you how it came. It's an emergent property. People can only teach what they know. So if somebody's teaching, for me, if somebody's teaching something and I think, I think to myself, that's what they can teach because that's what they know. For instance, if somebody's teaching that Zazen is some special state, it's because they don't know what Zazen is. So if you don't know what it is, you can't teach what it is. So, everybody does their best. They teach as they understand. And we can't teach more than we understand.
Maybe also the problem is that there is an old Indian proverb regarding the teachings, and it says, it's so simple you wouldn't believe it. It's so close you can't see it.
Yes.
So it's so
familiar.
vague or fine,
subtle.
Yeah, you have to experience it, and if you experience it, then it's very difficult to put in concepts and talk about it actually.
Yes.
So that's why people are quite often misled, and they think that, for example, rituals, clothes, or whatever is the teaching.
Yeah. Yeah, but if they had a teacher who knew that they weren't, then they could understand that they weren't.
Yeah.
So Dogen says, look for a good teacher. If you can't find a good teacher, better to have none.
Still, the life of the Brian, the comedy.
Life of Brian?
Yeah. He shouts, you have to think yourself, and everybody says, we have to think,
But, it's very subtle. I had an email just yesterday from somebody who wants to meet me, and they wrote, I am looking for myself, /God, /it. Right? This is somebody, I don't know who they are, I didn't meet them yet, but I'm looking for myself. I thought, I'm looking for myself. Well, you're living with yourself. You're always with yourself. You're looking for another self, which is different to the self you are. And that's what we do. Because the self we are is always with us. We know ourselves, we just sometimes don't like ourselves. Or we want a better self. But it's interesting what you say about subtle. I was weeding in the garden this morning, and I was looking for nettles.
Yeah.
And they're weird. There's whole flowers and green, and there's a nettle here. And then I'm looking around, and I can't see any more nettles. Then I go away and I come back. Oh, there's one there. I missed. How did I didn't see that? So I spent the whole of the Samu looking for nettles. And it was as if they could hide themselves from me. They were right in front of me, but they were hiding themselves from me. And I had to keep looking backwards and forwards until I could say, there's another one there. Looking for yourself.
Anyway, if we are talking about our experience, my experience with Kaizen group, it's he showed me Zazen first time.
Yeah.
And for me, it's pressure.
Yeah.
Still, because I met the Zazen.
Precious.
Precious.
Yeah.
Precious. Okay, precious.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Yeah.
And after I didn't look about these comedies, didn't play, maybe not so quite good, but anyway,
you got something
for a long time. It
valuable.
was to sitting in the group or not making except for the big gossip.
Yeah.
It was very nice time to come to retreats and he was my teacher.
Okay.
Still.
In the Shobo Genzo, Dogen's writings in the 13th century, which I helped to translate and publish, you can see, if you read, of course there's no Czech version, so it's quite a difficult task to read it like I can read it in English. But if you read through, you slowly you can see Dogen is always taking a traditional understanding in Buddhism and taking it apart and reinterpreting in a very different way. That's what he does the whole of the Shobogenzo. But he never says that understanding is wrong. This is the correct understanding. He does it in a different way. He says, well, for instance, he says, well, there are the 3 poisons, there are the 4 this, there are the 16 that. But if you sit in Zazen, you're there already. So, in another way, he's saying the Hinayana Buddhist analysis of all the different stages is not necessary. But he doesn't actually say that. He's kinder than that. He's more generous. He's not so generous to people. If he knows of a teacher whose teachings are not he doesn't think they're very good, he says so in very strong terms.
But wasn't also Dogen promoting, this monastic life? This living together, like in some monastery, practicing together, the Ango, this,
Yeah.
This is one thing I'm not doing, right? Except, it is, but it's not it, right? So,
well, sometimes are different. He said that we need to leave family life. Well, in the 13th century, if you wanted to practice Zazen and pursue the truth, you couldn't do it at home. There was no time. You were in the field growing food. So in his time, it was necessary to leave physically. But we don't need to do that. If we wish, we can go and live alone. And I think the Jewish tradition has also got this people, usually men in the community, who want to study the Jewish teachings, are supported by all the other members of the community, and they can become special rabbi. So it's practical. It's been a practical development. But the time is different now. We can actually take 4 days away from our jobs, because our jobs are not growing food so that we can eat it. Our jobs are making computer programs, or doing accounts, or inventing cars or something. But in the 13th century, people's work was to support their life in a very immediate way. Mm. So we're fortunate. But, if you want to leave and join a community away from life, then it's possible.
But Dogen, as far as I remember, also mentioned and praised some lay people, ministers who practice Zazen.
Yes.
He mentions a minister who practiced diligently and was a Buddha, so he had lots of respect for lay people.
Yes.
In Bendova, he's very says for everybody.
Yes.
And I'm not sure about the chapters in Shobogenzo were maybe written for lay people.
Some of them, yes. Yeah. At least one was written for a specific person.
And some lay people visited him regularly, or he visited them, so he was their teacher.
It's a long time ago, 13th century. But, as Pavel says, when we hear concepts, we need to investigate, what does that really mean for me? If you don't do it, investigate what it really means for me, then it's just an idea, so you're getting knowledge. So Dogen always writes, study in experience. Go away and study this in experience. Find out what it means for you in your life. It's not just knowledge I'm talking about, it's something real. So go and make it real. Yeah, that's very important. Otherwise, we're just trying to understand something theoretical.
I just want to ask, you were talking about the balance, that you can find the balance when you sit in
yes.
the present. So does it manifest outside the sitting as well? After
yes.
many years, is there a reference? Because it's a kind of skill or habit that you develop, isn't it?
Yes, it's a habit, but it changes your physiology. So, for instance, when we go home this afternoon, the fact that you've sat for 3.5 days, your body will have adjusted itself. So the endocrine levels and nervous systems functioning will all be more balanced, not undisturbed. So normally our nervous system is going one side to the other, more aggressive, more passive. We eat and feel sleepy and sit down and read a book, and then we go out to work and get stressed. So, our nervous system is going up and down. But after 3.5 days sitting, your body has stabilized, and it will continue in a stable state until life pulls us back into society. So slowly we lose that, but it stays with us. So my teacher used to say, it's like, if you practice every day, it's like ringing a bell. Dong, dong. So it's a physical change. It's a physical balance which stays with us. And if we practice for many years, we make very subtle decisions about what we're doing and where we're living and who we're with, which we probably don't notice. But over many years, that directs our life. So after 20, 30, 40 years, there is some effect. For instance, if you practice Zazen every day, you might like going to the pub and drinking lots of beer, and then you practice Zazen every day, and still you drink beer, and you practice Zazen every day, and still you drink beer. But after 2 or 3 years, you think, maybe I won't go for a drink. I won't drink today. And so very slowly, your drinking goes down like this, and it changes your life. But it's you can't even notice it. So why I'm here in the Czech Republic giving talks on Dogen. Well, how did I get here? Well,
I have theory. You came to the pub and you woke up in this strange cafe only.
Well, since I was 30 years old in Japan and met this little guy, and he told me to sit, and I sat every day, And I think, without me knowing it, my life changed. Without me knowing it, I didn't think, okay, now I want to do that, now I want to do that. Without planning it consciously, it's taken me where I am. So, to me, that may be due to Zazen. I can't say scientifically that the hypothesis is true, but it may be.
Because you don't know how would your life unfold if you didn't be.
Yes. Yes. Even sometimes when it feels like it's going in the wrong direction. If I look back at my life, times when I thought it was going in the wrong direction, well, was it wrong? Well, because I'm here. So if it was wrong, how did I get here? So it's not necessary to evaluate. Just follow where you're going. Follow your life, don't follow your mind. Because your life is living you, whether you like it or not. So I talked yesterday about affirmation. So we can affirm everything we do. If we practice balance, we can affirm that, okay, I don't know where my life is going. It seems to be a bit disturbed at the moment, but, it may be okay. So this is where I'm going there. So to affirm what you're doing is helpful. There's no point in criticizing. Oh, I did that wrong. I'm a Buddhist and I gave a talk and it was terrible. I should have prepared before I gave the talk, and Ladislav's recorded it, and it's pointless. But I did my best. That's it. So affirm what you do. And then when you're lying in bed at night, you can regret everything, it's kind of hobby to lie in bed in the middle of the night. My life.
Like a hobby.
Yeah. And then we wake up in the morning, we get up, and then, oh, okay, I'm here again.
There is some subtle thing. I once worked with a colleague, and I was like a professional but he was, in my opinion, like borderline psychopath. And he was very sure everything he does, and he was very powerful in what he was doing. He was able to steer all the group and people around. But I definitely don't want to be like him.
Okay.
Somehow. But he was in some way affirming everything he did. He did it with all his...
Yeah, but I'm talking about you. I'm not talking about a psychopath who you met in the past. I'm talking about you. So if you affirm your life, it's not the same as him affirming his life at all. It's just that he was sure of what he was doing. I don't mean to be sure. It's not to be sure I'm never wrong, but just to say, okay, that's the best. I did my best.
Mm-hmm.
Our Prime Minister before Matovic was like that.
Was he?
Yes. Like the psychopath.
Was he?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. But nobody tell him. Okay, somebody maybe tell him, but he still going.
Okay, he's gone. Has he gone?
Gone? No, now he's financial minister.
We have the opposite, financial minister and prime minister.
Oh,
it's the same. It's like,
but it tells him you should go, but they don't go. They change only.
Yeah, that's politics. Politics is
but he's
it's a kind of sport. Yeah. Competition, power, winning.
But he was psychopath before also, but I don't know why people voted him.
Yeah, because in democracy, the most important rule of democracy is don't ask all the people.
You know, like when you say about affirming, it rings something, but sometimes, as Pavel said, is this thing which is so hard to really grasp.
Yeah.
You know, when you say it in my mind, this is this nice happy idea, like like from the master on the.
Yeah.
It is so hard to grasp.
Yeah.
I just feel there's some line between. I don't know. It's just hard to grasp. It's not like.
Well, don't grasp it. It's okay. You know. It's only a tool.
I just really don't want to be break, you know. Be a dick, you know, like being the
well, you're not a dick.
You see, just you know, we fight for this a year, so. It's like this mystery between, you know, being selfish, but sometimes you have to be selfish, and I can't put it in nice words, but there is some mystery or something. Well, I guess I need to sit on it.
Well, we never know when we're selfish and when we're selfless. So don't worry about it. Just be honest and practice balance, and then just do what you do, whether it's selfish or selfless. We can never know. The idea in normal society that you shouldn't be selfish, you should be altruistic, is the English word for opposite, selfless. So you should help other people and not care about yourself. That's stupid. How can you help other people if you don't care about yourself? How can you love others if you don't love yourself? So, it's a balance. So if you balance yourself, then you don't need to worry. You've done the balance bit, and you can do what you have to do and not worry if it's selfish or selfless. It's okay. It's only what society is exaggerated. You know, we've invented this way of living together and all these beliefs and concepts, which some of them are a bit crazy when we look at them. You shouldn't do anything for yourself. You should only do things for other people. And, die for your country. The ultimate. And then when soldiers go and die, get killed, or kill other soldiers and then get killed, people say, he was a wonderful person, he died for his country, that's a wonderful sacrifice. What he did was go and kill some other people and get killed himself. This is great sacrifice and blah, 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 blah. It's not true, really, is it? It's time to stop.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you.
And